I never thought that I would work in like textiles. I was like, you know, that's what my mom does. Like, I don't want to do that. But then sort of during the pandemic, having all this like spare time, just being at home, I just wanted to experiment. There's so much imagery that you're being fed every day, and I feel like I just sort of got sick of seeing images and I wanted to make other stuff. I wanted to start working more hands-on again and more like labor-intensive work, and that's definitely sort of one of the pushes towards doing the textile stuff. I don't have to be on a computer at all for the whole process, which is really nice. I'd never even sewn before. It was literally just like starting from like learning how to like attach like two pieces together. Because my mother's been sort of doing it for so long, I would ask her what's next. She would send me like a video of her doing it or like a YouTube clip or something like that. And then it would just sort of build from there. This is like a style that I do a lot of, like with just these like strips with this very like neutral, clean off-white. And then this pattern is sort of something I've done a lot of, sort of just trying to keep like these natural lines that aren't perfectly straight and everything. So the way that they're cut is like more like freehand. With quilting, there's like just like a lot of repetition. It's generally just a pattern done over and over and over. I have these bags and bags around the studio that are just scraps from other pieces and everything like that. What I like about it is sort of building these relationships between like past pieces. So it's like all of these fabrics have come from like another piece. It's like one of the ways of quilting, the way you attach the layers together. So using these like yarn ties, and you just stitch it all the way through and tie it off. And then with these pieces, I just grid it out and then start to tie all these knots, and they sort of all start the same, and then they're all different in the way that the yarn lies and the way it gets sprayed, and sort of leaves that impression of where they are in that moment. It's like this like light bulb going off where it's like it like is a craft, and I always struggled with that. I think you always wanted to make like art that everyone respected and like appreciated, and it was a struggle to realize that you can do that with craft. And I think it kind of comes back to like the MOCA show, with bringing back this like utilitarian element into the pieces. It's almost been like a full circle moment where it's like I only ever wanted them on the wall and I wanted people to look at them like paintings, and then with the show I wanted to bring back that element of like use. The idea behind this installation is sort of to mimic these elevator moving pads, and sort of just taking this like mundane like object and sort of recreating it in something a little more like aesthetically pleasing. I think the suspension sort of gives it like that sort of motion and like movement, and I think just obviously like visually very interesting. And I think it helps it sort of tie in with the elevators and keep it on that same theme. These are the first works that were made in here. It's a diptych, so they sort of live together. These pieces are really based off of like this center mosaic. The way that they're sewn together, you're taking sort of different pieces from each layer, and then you get sort of the inverse, so like a positive, negative between the two. Exploring these different ways of displaying has been sort of important in the newer works. Everything is just decisions. Everything in life is just decisions, right? You get to the point of where you are from making these decisions, and I guess that's what makes your work what it is. So you just decide.